Hello people and welcome to the channel. Back to the Pokémon Emerald Solo Run series. In this video I'm going to show you my attempt at beating the game using only Spheal. Spheal is one of those Pokémon you can usually only get way too far into the run to actually use it, so I'm really curious to see how it fares in the early game, more so considering that the first 3 gems all have super effective options to mess me up. But before talking about that, I need to explain my rule set as it might differ from what you expect in a solo run. 2 simple limitations are all it takes to make these runs actually challenging. No overleveling and no items in battle. Now that we are looking at a difficult and seemingly impossible run, let's make it interesting and more manageable with a couple of special rules. First of all, I don't limit myself to a single Pokémon of the chosen species, so in this case you are going to see me train more than one Spheal. Of course, I can't use more than one at a time in battle. Tutor Moves, TMs and items in general are infinite once I get access to them. Lastly, breeding is allowed. Breeding is great to find Pokémon with better IVs and a desired nature and will be greatly exploited in that regard, but its value doesn't stop here. Under the right circumstances I'll be able to use the egg moves, and those can be really interesting. But I'll talk about that in a moment. With the rule section out of the way, let's take a closer look to Spheal. With a whopping 290 total base stats, Spheal appears to be weaker than a first form starter. The distribution is not making it any favor either. 70 base HP is nice, I guess, but not really exciting, while 25 base speed is really worrying. I never played with such a slow Pokémon before. The other stats are pretty bad, the silver lining being a slightly higher special attack. At least my step moves will be decent with a proper AV training. And speaking of moves, let's see the whole thing. By leveling up, I think Spheal's learn set is pretty solid. The early game has good step options and really nice utility with Growl and Anchor. And while I think later on the moves are all kinda bad, at that point I'll have access to strong TMs anyway. You can see the TM list is pretty limited and doesn't really offer much type coverage apart from the late game Earthquake maybe, but expect Stab Surf and Ice Beam to be extremely good for the most part, so I'm not too worried about it. Finally, the egg moves are mostly underwhelming. I'm looking at you Stockpile and Water Sport, but I think Curse and Yawn can be game changers. In case you are interested, there's a more comprehensive rule set in the description that better explains my approach to the challenge, but for now we should be all set and ready to jump into the run. The first thing I had to decide was which starter to replace with Spheal. It's not an obvious choice. Trico and Torchic, while weak to ice and water respectively, both have super effective options, while the matchup against the Mudkip line is neutral. In the end, I replaced Trico. This way May will have a Combusken with Double Kick for this late pot battle, and that should be the hardest for me to deal with. Anyway, this means that the first match is a free win. Spheal at level 5 already has Water Gun, so Torchic goes down easily in 2 hits. Now, as I said at the start of the video, the first 3 gems are all going to have super effective options. Among them, Roxanne is the easiest, but Brawley and especially Watson look really scary. Knowing this, and for a reason I'll explain later, I'm going to try and beat Roxanne without engaging any extra battle. This means that when I reach Rustboro, I'm still level 8, and that's way too low to even have a chance. Lucky for me, there's a hiker on the north that will be mandatory to access the Whismur Cave later, so I can go there and face him. Spheal doesn't need a lot of experience to level up early, so after the battle I'm level 10. And that should be enough to face the first gym leader. Spheal is a really slow Pokémon, but with a decent speed IV, it's still faster than Geodude despite the level disadvantage, so I can simply use Water Gun twice to get rid of Roxanne's first 2 Pokémon. While I do that, notice that on the right there's a chart with the IVs and EVs of the Pokémon I'm using. You'll see one for every major battle. To find this particular Spheal I had to reset quite a few times, but it should be worth it. Anyway, thanks to the Geodudes I'm at level 12 for the Nosepass. The only rock move Nosepass has is Rock Tomb, and it will only be selected if I'm faster or in key range, and I'm neither of those. The other damaging move is Tackle, but as far as I know, it's pretty much guaranteed to use Harden or Block first, so even if I'm slower, I go for Anchor. And here's the Harden. Perfect. Now, instead of attacking right away, I'm going to play it safe and use Growl 2 times. This way, Rock Tomb's highest roll will be 18, and Tackle will barely deal damage unless it crits. So yeah, I'm pretty safe spamming Water Gun even if Roxanne can restore a lot of HP thanks to the 2 potions and the Oran Berry. And speaking of Oran Berries, mine doesn't even get the chance to trigger as Newspass misses tackle and one last water gun takes it down, winning me the first badge. I didn't expect to lose, to be honest, but I'd be surprised if the reset counter doesn't go up while trying to get past Brawley. And Brawley is the main reason why I didn't want to gain any extra experience before Roxanne. After dealing with the grunt in the Wismur cave, I'm still level 13, and there's no mandatory battle before the next gym leader. More importantly, after delivering the letter to Steven, Mr. Stone rewards me with the XP share. EV training in the early game is severely limited. Even if I beat up low-level Pokémon, it's not like I can defeat hundreds of them and expect to remain below the level cap. But the XP share allows me to split that experience between my Spheal and the HM user, effectively doubling the amount of effort values I can gain within the current level cap. Let's see if my forward thinking will be rewarded by a first try victory against Brawley. The first thing I want to do is to use Growl on Machop. As soon as I hit level 19, Growl will be replaced with Body Slam, so it was really important to enter this battle still at level 18. Anyway, the best case scenario is Machop using Bulk Up right away, but if it attacks, the damage will be at least mitigated. Or not. Well, Karate Chop does have an increased critical ratio, so it's not surprising. Reset number 1, let's hope to not go any higher for now. The plan is to use Anchor to lock Machop into Bulk Up as soon as possible, and from personal experience, this Machop is really likely to use it if its attack gets lowered. There's also a decent chance Machop uses Bulk Up right away, but I'm not so lucky. Really, I am not. 2 crits in a row are annoying, but not much I can do about it, considering Spheal has a type disadvantage and I can just barely play around the normal hits thanks to the EV training. 3rd time's the charm, maybe? I use Growl, Machop once again uses Karate Chop, but no crit. Nice. Now it should be really likely to use Bulk Up, and in the meantime I can start attacking with Water Gun. Really good. All is left to do is to use Anchor, and then 2 more Water Guns should take down Machop. The next Pokemon will be Meditite, and there's a reason if I make fun of it in pretty much every video. With only Focus Punch as its damaging move, it doesn't really matter what I'm using as long as I attack every turn. Even better, Brawley will waste on it both of its super potions if given the chance, and Body Slam is the perfect move to ensure I put it in healing range. So you might be wondering why I used Water Gun instead. Yeah, I would like to know it too. Even more questionable is the choice of trying to put it in healing range with a weak Ice Ball. Honestly, a miss resulting in Meditite killing my Spheal couldn't be more deserved. Apart from this silly mistake, there's not much else to say about this battle, so let me jump a bit ahead in the future. This time, after dealing with Meditite properly, I can take it down and finally face Brawley's ace. I'm still full HP because Machop got locked into Bulk Up right away, so I'm in the best possible position. The plan is to use Anchor as soon as it uses Bulk Up, but after landing a Body Slam, Makuhita not only goes straight for Vital Throw, but it also gets a really high roll. The Oran Berry brings me up to 35 HP, but I'm still dead to another high roll, so there's a chance it sees a kill now. A paralysis from Body Slam might help, Makuhita has Stick Fat instead of Guts, but not having the best luck with that? Okay, it didn't see the kill and went for Bulk Up, so I can simply Anchor and win. The resets needed were actually 4, I spared you an attempt where I got once again unlucky against Machop, and that's about the number I expected. Out of the first 3 gym leaders though, it's Watson who concerns me the most. The last time I tried to beat him with a water type, I had to reset over 40 times. But this won't be the case, right? Besides, with Brawley defeated, I need to think about the Slatebot rival battle first. As I mentioned before, her Combusken can be a scary opponent due to Double Kick. With proper EV training on my speed, I can have the speed advantage, so as long as I don't lose too many HP before facing Combusken, I should be fine. First is Wingull, and there's not much it can do between its abysmal attack and my really boosted defense. I tried to start an Ice Ball, but I miss, and yeah, 6 damage from Wing Attack. I don't know if May sends out Lambre or Combusken second, and in case it's Lambre, I'd really like to hit it really hard with Ice Ball from the get-go. It has Absorb and Growl, so I risk to lose a lot of HP in an extended fight. But forget it, because Ice Ball misses again. At least Wingull never even tried to use Supersonic. Let's finish it with Body Slam and see who's next. Okay, Combusken. Nice. 2 Water Guns should be enough and I'm out of kill range, so it might not even attack, and use Focus Energy. Great move, but really situational, and this wasn't the right situation. So Combusken goes down, and at this point I don't mind losing some extra HP to Lambre. I have to say I'm surprised Body Slam is dealing so much damage, so it might seem like I was worrying over nothing, but notice how thanks to the healing from Absorb I need 3 hits to kill it, and as I'm landing the final Body Slam I'm down to almost half HP. Thankfully Combusken didn't attack me. Anyway, with May defeated I can reach Mauville, and that's huge. First of all, at the game corner there's the TM for Ice Beam, probably my best move for the rest of the run. And second, having access to the daycare will allow me to breed a new Spheal for the Watson fight. This is a good moment to explain my rules for the egg moves. As I show you the shot again, considering how hard can be the battle against Watson, you might suggest to just give my Spheal Fissure and try to get past him with that. Probably no one thought of giving me such an advice, but just play along, okay? I need it as an example. There are 2 reasons why I cannot give my Spheal Fissure. First of all, I need to have access to both Baron species, and while I have a female Spheal already, Numel can only be found after I defeat Watson. The second reason is that the desired move must be learned by the father within the current level cap, and since Camerupt learns Fissure at level 55, that's not going to be viable until I'm facing the last Elite Four member. At that point I'll also have Sheer Cold, but that's beside the point. The only useful egg move available right now is Yawn, and I made sure to catch a Slakoth when I was still in Petalburg Woods. I'm not planning to use Yawn though, all I need is to breed a Spheal with good stats. And once I've done that, I'm ready to take on Watson. Needless to say, this isn't a foolproof plan. Even with an incredibly boosted speed, there's no way Spheal is faster than Voltorb, so I have to tank a hit before hopefully landing a Rock Tomb. Not only that, but I really need this spark to not paralyze me, and seems like I'm having a decently lucky start. After the speed drop from Rock Tomb, I'm faster than Voltorb and Ice Beam is almost guaranteed to kill it. Very nice. At level 25, Spheal learns Aurora Beam, we don't need that for sure, but the level up will allow me to outspeed Magneton later. First I must deal with Electrike, but it's fragile and slower, so Ice Beam is going to one-shot it easily. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is something that never happened before, and I don't even have a clue about the reason behind it. Instead of Magneton, Watson sends out his Manectric third. They basically have the exact same type coverage, so it might have something to do with the double typing? Really hard to say, but I'll probably run some tests in the future. Anyway, facing Manectric first is a great advantage, even though I didn't realize it immediately. The plan is to use Anchor right away, since Manectric is really likely to set up if he doesn't see a kill, and I'm currently only dead to a couple of Shockwave rolls, so the Howl, while a bit lucky, is not unexpected by any means. According to the original plan, which at this point is kinda useless to explain, I was going to face Manectric paralyzed, and therefore with no chance to outspeed it. But right now, a speed drop from Rock Tomb would allow me to lock Manectric into Howl for the rest of time. As I said, I didn't realize in how good of a position I was, so I followed the original plan and used Swagger instead of Rock Tomb. But the result isn't so bad. With a +4 attack, Manectric almost goes down to half HP from a self-hit, and then Rock Tomb connects. So there's pretty much no way I lose to Watson says now. Ice Beam deals a ton of damage, not surprising considering we are still pretty early to the run and I get the stab, so 2 of them are more than enough to take down Manectric. Magneton is last and Swagger is a perfect option to deal with it. I'm faster, so it will very likely try to paralyze me with Thunder Wave, but I'm prepared to cure it with my Cherry Berry and then use Anchor. Well, I guess the game really wants to make up for all the bad RNG I got against Brawley, and 2 Ice Beam along with 2 self-hits in a row take down Magneton without even triggering a single Super Potion. 0 resets against Watson. Now that's a welcome surprise. 3 badges in the bag, and I expect the mid-game section to be pretty easy. On my way to Meteor Falls, I catch not 1, but 2 Torkoal in the Fury Path. I'll explain the reason later. For now, let's not waste time with the grunts at Mount Chimney and jump straight into the battle against Maxi. I don't expect to have any trouble, but it's a good occasion to introduce my most recently bred Spheal. To be honest, firing doesn't have much going on, but it has a good special attack thanks to a modest nature and some solid EV training on its special defense. It's also decently fast to be a Spheal, but there's no way it can outspeed Maxi's Mightyena. Thankfully, despite the accuracy drop from Sand Attack, Ice Beam still hits and almost one-shots. Maxi then uses a super potion, but if I manage to land a second one, the recovered HP shouldn't matter. Nice, so far so good. As long as I don't get some really terrible luck, I'll be fine from here. Zubat deals some damage with wing attack, but not enough to bother me. Ice Beam also hits right away, so things couldn't be going any smoother. I didn't check if I outspeed Cameraptor or not, but I'm pretty sure I do, and well, I guess the sand attack at the start had zero impact after all. There's nothing left between me and Flannery, so as soon as I reach Lava Rage, I can immediately face the next gym leader. The Fire Gym is probably the only point in the game where Spheal's ability is going to be helpful. Thanks to Thick Fat, I'll take half damage from overhit, and that should be enough to outlast Flannery's Pokémon. And by Flannery's Pokémon, I mean Torkoal. Numel, Slugma, and even Camerupt have no chance to survive a simple water gun. They are also really slow, so there's absolutely no risk of taking any damage before Flannery says. So it looks like I won't have any problem here, but I made a mistake. See, right now Overhit always does more damage than Body Slam, so I was expecting Torkoal to either use that or Sunny Day. But look at that, it actually used Body Slam. The reason is simple. Unless it's going for the kill, the AI tends to avoid moves that give a debuff to the user. Torkoal using Body Slam wouldn't be a problem if it wasn't for the paralysis chance, which I'm not prepared to deal with. Great. My Oran Berry restores some HP, but I'm still dead to almost half of the overhit rolls, and more importantly, I lost my speed advantage. A water gun would be enough to win the battle, but I'm completely in the RNG hands. Okay, not gonna happen. I said it before, it's hard for me to believe Infatuation is a 50-50. I know it is, but still. And just to confirm my bias, I get immobilized by love not one, but 2 times. I mean, with a Sunny Day up, my chances of winning were already pretty much 0. The reset counter goes up to 5, but it should be easy enough to fix my strategy and get past this battle with no more than that. No reason to show the first 3 Pokémon, and you see that even if Torkoal paralyzes me with Body Slam, this time I have a Cherry Berry ready to heal my Spheal. Getting a Body Slam paralysis myself would be great, especially in case Torkoal gets a second one in a row. Chip shot game, a real chip shot. Let's see if, how they say, the first time's the charm. Really high water gun roll, not that it matters, and paralysis again. Come on, don't do me like that. Can I maybe get some of that luck too? Or is only the enemy's Body Slam that can cause paralysis so reliably? Oh, I guess complaining works. And with a Sunny Day from Torkoal, I am now guaranteed to win, even though it will take a while. The strong sunlight helps my water gun's damage, but it's easy to lock Torkoal into Sunny Day with Anchor until the sunlight fades and then land the final hit. Having to reset twice got me a bit salty, but I can't say this wasn't a hard battle. Spheal had all the tools to beat Flannery, and if it wasn't a first try victory, it's only due to a misplay by me and some pretty bad RNG. Usually from here I go straight to the battle against Norman, since there's really nothing worth to mention between him and Flannery. But in this case I have to stop a moment to talk about Spheal's breeding moves. Torkoal learns Curse at only level 7, and remember I caught a couple of them in the Fury Path, so it's a currently available option. A move that allows me to boost both attack and defense is without a doubt a great tool to have for the Norman fight, and the speed drop that comes with it doesn't matter since Spheal is bound to be slower anyway. But this is not the spicy part. There is a variety of moves that can be passed down by breeding. The egg moves are an obvious example, but they are not the only ones. If the father knows a compatible TM, then the hatched Pokémon will have that too. We all know Protect is a TM compatible with pretty much every Pokémon. In Pokémon Emerald you can get it from the department store in Lilikov, but Torkoal learns it by leveling up and only at level 27. Now, does the game care about the difference when it generates an egg? The answer is no. So I can legitimately have a Spheal with both Protect and Curse for the battle against my father in Petalburg. I'm sorry Norman, but you're not gonna like it. Spin is first, and despite its name, Slowball is faster. Ice Beam is a 2-hit KO and I can very safely expect a Tito Dance from Spinda. Even Side Beam or Facade would have been okay to be honest, but I'd rather make use of this Persim Berry and face the rest of Norman's team at full HP. Now, unless the game wants to bring down armor certainties, Norman will send out Slaking because it's the only one with a super effective option. Counter doesn't deal damage by itself, but when making this decision, the AI only cares about the move's typing. And I'm right. As long as you have Protect, a Pokémon with Truant is the perfect occasion to set up. I doubt you want to see me alternating between Protect and Curse over and over, so I'll spare you most of the setup. After 6 curses, I'm in such good position, I doubt I can lose, more so considering that I also got the Return TM in exchange for the Meteorite from Mount Chimney. Return is probably going to be my overall best physical option of the run, but despite all of this, Slaking will still take a couple of hits, or not, I can also get a crit right away. Really nice, let's just hope to not get crit myself. Due to my boosted defense, Vigoroth should select Feint Attack since all Dark-type moves are special in Generation 3, but I've seen this guy using Slash to seemingly counter stat changes like this. Well, this is not the case, and from here I just win. Not even a crit from Linoon would kill me. Before realizing I could use a spear with Protect, I was so scared of this battle that even now it amazes me how Norman turned out to be a first-time victory. The Balance Badge is obtained and it will boost my Pokemon's defense by 10%, for some reason. Something tells me Winona won't stand a chance. Time to head towards Fortree. The Team Aqua at the Weather Institute is a pushover, so all I'm going to say about it is that the cast form I got as a reward was holding a Mystic Water. I don't really need it right now, but it might be useful later. The battle against the rival is easy too, but I'm still going to show it, mainly because I need to talk about the EVs on this Spheal. You might remember I used Light Ball in the fight against Watson, and in that battle its EVs were spread differently. I'm not cheating. Now that I have Surf, I can reach the Berry Master on Route 123, and the Old Man gives berries that decrease the EVs by 10 points. So from now on, it will be really easy to redo the EV training of my Pokémon if I need to. Don't worry, I usually limit the EV changes to the minimum. I don't want things to get confusing. Anyway, after a long and thrilling duel against Pelipper, the rest of May's team goes down without too many ceremonies. If we want to talk again about which starter I should have replaced to make the game as hard as possible, Grovyle here would have been the scariest opponent, but still an easy one. At least it would have been faster. Combusken did literally nothing and just got drowned by a rain-boosted Surf. Lombre stalled a bit with Fake Out, but the best it can do is to use Absorb, and that's not going to save it from going down to a second Ice Beam. After defeating May, I often go all the way to Lilycove to get some extra tools to deal with Winona, but with an Ice-type Pokémon, I don't think I'll have to do it. I don't even need a new Spheal. With the V adjustment I just did, Light Ball will be perfectly able to face Winona's team. Let's see the battle. Flying-type Pokémon are generally fast, but Winona's team is more on the slow side, and only Altaria is going to outspeed me. A well-trained special attack along with Stab Ice Beam are going to make sure I'll one-shot everything that is weak to ice. So Swablu goes down, and Tropius... Poor Tropius. Look, I can understand letting your lead die to an unfavorable matchup, but sending out a slow grass flying type versus an Ice Beam user is just mean. It's clear Winona doesn't love every one of her Pokémon the same, in fact it's not going to give Altaria the Tropius treatment and sends out Pelipper instead. Ice Beam is neutral, so I'll have to land too, but Pelipper is known to be a professional time waster, and as such it goes straight for Protect. It also has Supersonic, so here I actually meant to use Anchor to avoid it, but wrong input and I use Swagger instead. So I guess we're playing the Confusion game. And we really are. After the first Ice Beam, Pelipper snaps out of Confusion and manages to confuse me. I'm not worried about losing turns against Pelipper, but doing so while facing Altaria or Skarmory might actually result in a loss, so I decide to stall at least one turn of Confusion and try to Anchor Supersonic. Very good, and now I'll just use Ice Beam and hopefully the Confusion won't linger too much. Looks like this Spheal is not willing to hit itself, so Pelipper goes down and next should be Skarmory. As I said, I'm faster, but Ice Beam is neutral and I'm worried of it spamming Sand Attack. I do have a White Herb kept, but Confusion might prolong the battle to a point where that is not enough. Or, and hear me out on this one, I can hit an Ice Beam through Confusion and get the 10% freeze. Snapping out of Confusion right after is just the icing on the cake. I was honestly tempted to reset and not count this attempt for how lucky I got after misplaying against Pelipper, but that wouldn't be really consistent, I guess. So let's just take this as a good omen for the battles ahead. After landing a kinda underwhelming Earthquake, Altaria goes down, winning me the battle. With a further badge obtained, the level cap rises all the way up to 42. We are in what I consider to be the late game, and while the opponents from here will get stronger and stronger, Spheal has already reached its maximum potential. So yeah, things are about to get serious. Having only 6 resets past Winona is outstanding, but I doubt I can rest on my laurels. A bit off topic, but as a non-native speaker, writing and reading a script is a challenging task for me, and sometimes I wonder how many weird or straight-up wrong expressions I end up using. If you notice one, don't hesitate to point it out in the comments, it would really help me improve. Anyway, despite the high level cap, most of the battles before Tate and Liza are against pretty low level trainers. The only exception is Maxi, so let's see that. My Tiana is first and I'd be surprised to not see Swagger here. I, of course, have a Persim Berry equipped, so I'm not worried about it, and while there's no way a single Ice Beam takes it down, it will for sure trigger a Super Potion. 50 more HP are not going to save my Tiana from my next attack, and Camerupt comes out. This is so good. It might seem like Camerupt is a joke since it's slower and I have Surf, but if given the chance to attack, Rock Slide and Earthquake would have taken away 2/3 of my HP. So I'm happy to see Crobat last. I don't really care if it confuses me now, all I need is to land a single Ice Beam and the battle is over. Wing attack is pretty much the best case scenario, so Crobat goes down, and at least for now I can forget about Maxi and focus on more intense and interesting battles. Namely, the double battle against Tate and Liza. If you have already seen one of my solo runs in the past, then you know that for Tate and Liza I allow myself to bring a second Pokemon if I really need to. And for me it's a really big achievement when I don't give up and I end up finding a decent strategy to win with only one Pokemon. Now, Spheal's case is a special one. It has a strong and super effective stab option for every single Pokemon in Tate and Liza's team. But at the same time, it's terribly slow, and let's not forget its total base stats don't even reach the 300 mark. I don't even know how many hours I spent trying to figure out some kind of plan. Anchor, Yawn, Toxic, Mimic, you name it. I went in every possible direction, and always with the feeling that there had to be a way. But no matter how I put it, Stab Ice Beam and Surf, while really strong, were not enough for a single Spheal to win this battle. So I had to settle for the 2v2. Nothing else to say, let's just face the Psychic Twins. Tate and Liza lead with Xatu and Claydol. Perfect is going to be my heavy hitter, while Circle's main purpose is to be the bait. At 55 HP, both of my opponents see a kill with Psychic, so using Protect pretty much wastes their first turn. An Ice Beam from Protect is just barely enough to take down Xatu and get the level up. At level 43, Spheal learns Blizzard, which is not what I'd call a reliable option, so I'm not gonna bother with it. What matters the most is that thanks to the level up, Circle is now the fastest Pokemon in the field. Sorwalk comes out and Circle's Citrus Berry activates, so now Claydol doesn't see a kill anymore and should therefore go for Earthquake. Not much I can do to avoid it, but thanks to the speed advantage, Circle can mitigate the damage with Growl. Well, it wouldn't be a Tate and Liza battle without a critical Earthquake from Claydol. At this point I might as well reset, but you never know what the RNG gods might have in store, so I decide to not give up just yet. The win condition is very slim though. Basically, I'd need both of Tate and Liza's Pokemon to focus Circle while spamming Protect without failing. And even if Circle managed to get off a second Protect, Claydol decides to attack Perfect, so it's game over. Take 2, you already know the plan, so I'm just going to speed up the first couple of turns. The AI has a very consistent behavior, so there's pretty much nothing that can go wrong besides the occasional critical hit. It's all about managing Circle's HP. At the start of the battle, it's too high to die from Earthquake, but low enough to bait Psychic, and after the Citrus Berry, it's still low enough to ensure a Solar Beam from Solrock. Anyway, this time Claydol has the good grace to not crit any of my Spheal. The plan can continue. I was expecting to have a lower amount of HP on Circle, but Earthquake rolled a bit low, and at 60 HP there's a decent chance Solrock won't go for the kill with Psychic. So for now, I'm just going to double Protect. I don't really need to do this, but if I manage to keep Circle alive until Lunaton, then not even another unlucky crit would cost me the match. After a turn of strategic defense, it's time to go all out on the offensive. Circle outspeeds and finish off Claydol with Ice Beam, making sure the upcoming Surf will weaken Lunaton. But Solrock doesn't miss its chance and takes down my loyal Spheal with a high roll Psychic. As they say, an high roll for an high roll. Surf wasn't guaranteed to take down Solrock, even though it was very likely. Time for the final duel. Surf will kill Lunaton from here, but it might put me to sleep with Hypnosis first, or, you know, get that critical hit I was talking about. Or neither of those. I wouldn't have been surprised to win on the first try, but hopefully this battle still gave you an idea of how impossible it was to pull off the 2v1. Moving on, the double battle against Maxi and his admin at the Space Center was very easy. We've already seen how good Ice Beam and Surf are to deal with the Team Magma, and by using Protect every other turn I can also let Steven make its own contribution. No wonder I'm still almost at full HP at the end of the match. On the other hand, Archie might cause issues, to a point where if I wanted a consistent strategy, I should have bred a new Spheal. Instead, I went into the battle with my old friend Lightball. My Tiana loves to use Scary Face on a faster opponent, so I'll probably still have the Piercing Berry for Crobat and Sharpedo. Yeah, no doubt I will if I get the freeze. To be fair, this pretty much doesn't change anything. Either way, my Tiana was going to be healed, but not enough to survive a second hit. Team Aqua must really be broke if even the leader can't afford Hyper Potions. Anyway, Crobat is likely going to confuse me before going down, or not. At least I won't have to worry about Sharpedo's Swagger, but Unhasty Nature is really not the most suited for this battle, and since I need to land 2 hits against Sharpedo, I'm very much risking to lose here. One non-critical slash leaves me with 41 HP and a second potion is about to be used, so I either get a crit or I use Swagger myself and go for the Confusion coin flip. I think I got kinda unlucky with Archie always selecting a DBG move, but I guess Sharpedo hitting itself for that amount of HP makes up for it. So the reset counter stays the same, and since there's no need to show all the lore related stuff, we might as well jump ahead to the fight against Juan in Sutopolis. If only there was a way to safely set up 6 curses like I did for Norman. I don't know, maybe a weak Pokémon that doesn't deal too much damage. Even better, a Pokémon so embarrassing that I, to this day, still wonder why it is part of a gym leader's team. I can't help it. Every time I plan the one fight, I feel the physical need to make some kind of joke about this Pokémon. Its base stats are not much higher than Spheal, and their distribution is arguably even worse. I'm really not looking forward to the day I'll do a solo run with Love-Disc. Anyway, it is true that Love-Disc has more than one way to confuse me, but since Curse rises both attack and defense, I don't have to particularly worry about self-hits. In case I get uncomfortably low, I also have Rest, so I'd say we are fine skipping ahead. There's pretty much nothing that can go wrong here. So, with its attack and defense maxed out, Water Ball snaps out of confusion and brutally one-shots the not so respect-worthy Pokémon of my opponent. Whiscash is second and the one-shot is once again guaranteed. I gave up any chance to outspeed though, so every Pokémon in Juan's team will have a chance to attack. But with such a boosted defense, they are all going to prefer their special, not very effective options. And I made sure to fully EV train my special defense. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident right now. The only thing that can go wrong is Kindra. Double team strategies can be terrible to deal with, and there's a single return roll that doesn't kill. Might as well play around that, right? So when Celio comes out, I decide to set up Hail for that bit of extra damage. And oh boy, do I regret doing so. Celio is probably the second to last Pokémon I think about when I prepare for one, and there has never been a case where it was in the position to encore me. Until now. I could have lost to this mistake very easily. I'm of course slower, so Celio will keep me locked into Hail until I use up all 10 power points. And while Water Pulse only deals about 12-13 damage, tanking almost 10 of them is no joke. Also, getting the 20% confusion chance and hitting myself not only would be bad HP wise, but it wouldn't even consume the Hell PP. Somehow, out of 8 Water Pulse, not even one procs the confusion. If my math isn't wrong, that should be about a 16% chance, and I'm not counting the fact I didn't get crit once. So eventually I run out of Hail PP and manage to heal back to full HP with Rest. But it's not over. Rest is also a move the AI will try to anchor. It's not nearly as bad though. I'm forced to use Rest one extra time, but the anchor effect ends while I'm still asleep, so Celio doesn't get the chance to continue this painful stalling, and as soon as I wake up I take the demon down with Return. Next is Crodant, but at this point I couldn't set up Hail even if I wanted to, so I go straight for the one shot with Return. Kindra is last, and weirdly enough, it doesn't try to set up double teams. Water Pulse crits, but as long as it doesn't confuse me, I should be fine. Getting that low roll wouldn't have been a problem to be honest, but I appreciate the game letting me end this unexpectedly painful battle. All the badges acquired and only 7 resets so far. I know the Elite Four is on another level, but I can't help but feeling optimistic. Before talking about the endgame fights, I'll show you the battle against Wally in Victory Road. My trusted friend Lightball should have no trouble sweeping through most of his team. Alteria is first and it's obviously faster, but there's not much he can do, so I take my time to set up Rain Dance before landing an Ice Beam for the one shot. Rosalia is second, but is lower so it doesn't get the chance to damage me and goes down to another Ice Beam. For Magneton I don't have a super effective option, but thanks to the rain, a Surf will be enough to kill it in a single hit. After all, Light Ball was originally trained to deal with electric types. Dalketi is just as fragile, so I can once again exploit the rain to land a strong Surf for the one shot. We know the real boss is Gardevoir. Its special defense is great, and with Calm Mind and Double Team it makes for a really scary opponent. That would be the case if it wasn't for the fact it always, and I mean always, goes for Future Sight on the first turn. So even if I'm slower, it's safe to use Anchor right away. As I said, Gardevoir is really bulky, so to guarantee I two-shot it without risking to trigger a potion, I set up the rain again and then spam Surf. I do have to take the Future Sight damage in the process, and you see how much it does to my Spheal, but at least Future Sight cannot crit, so I'm not worried. The second Surf takes down Gardevoir, which means Wall is defeated and we're free to move on to the Pokémon League. I'm going into the final gauntlet with 5 Spheal, each one with a level cap based on the opponent. Also, I'm not going to save between battles if I can. There's no defined rule about this, but I'm really stubborn, so you can expect me to not give up easily. Can I finish this run without hitting the double digits on the reset counter? Only one way to find out. Let's start with Sydney, the Dark-type Master. There's a move, a really overpowered move that I didn't use yet in this run, Substitute. If I can, I avoid using it, but it's the Elite Four we're talking about and I'm using a Spheal, so I'm not going to be shy about it. The massive EV training allows me to outspeed my Tiana, but not even a Blizzard would one-shot it, so I need to use Substitute to stay safe from its sand attack. Double Edge is really bad though. See, this is why I hate this my Tiana. Either you cannot speed and one-shot it reliably, or you are pretty much forced to use a Substitute and hope it doesn't break it right away. Let's try again. This thing shouldn't be very likely to attack if it doesn't see a kill. Good. I was worried Attempt 1 was going to die at the very first Pokemon. Anchor will make sure I won't have to worry about losing the Substitute, and since I have a Shell Bell equipped, I recover quite a bit of HP. Even more considering that Ice Beam puts my Tiana into full restore range, so I can heal off its HP bar all over again. Not only that, but Cacturne is second and it's lower as well, so it's more free healing. Thankfully, only Shiftry and Absol are faster than me, but those two really have the potential to mess me up. As for Absol, from my experience, it doesn't like to attack until it sets up Swords Dance and sees a kill. Rockslide current highest roll is 102, so as expected, here's the Swords Dance. This wasn't a certainty, otherwise I would have used Anchor right away, and I'm prepared to lose my Substitute before landing a second Ice Beam for the kill. I have to say, having a Substitute for Shiftry would have been nice. It not only loves to spam the D move, but it also has Swagger, and in the remote chance it uses Extra Sensory, there's always that 10% flinch chance. Not this time. And even if I had to take some damage, the Shell Bell is really doing wonders for me. Crotant is last, and much like Absol, it has a strong tendency to set up Swords Dance before attacking. But unlike Absol, it is lower than me, so I'll be able to safely use Anchor on it. That's exactly what happens, and now, as long as don't trigger a full restore, I should be completely fine. I only have not very effective options, so I have to settle for the 3-hit KO. But 2 waterfalls won't put it into healing range, and after that, Ice Beam should pretty much always kill, unless I get a really low roll on all 3 of my attacks. Perfect. Crotant goes down and the first Elite Four member is defeated, so time to advance to the second room. Phoebe doesn't cause any problem most of the times, but I feel like my strategy is more shaky than usual. Let me show you what I mean. Dusclops is first, and as always I'm going to exploit the guaranteed protect on the first turn. Here I decide to use the occasion to set up a Substitute. Dusclops is a really slow Pokemon, so I have an easy time using Anchor to lock it into Protect. The longer this Anchor lasts, the safer I can set up Curse. In this case, I managed to get to +5 before the Anchor ended. Unless Dusclops goes for Shadow Punch and crits, I should be fine setting up one last Curse. Well, looks like using Protect 6 times in a row wasn't enough for Phoebe. This couldn't have gone better. Time to switch to Earthquake and take down Dusclops. Too bad it uses yet another Protect and doesn't fail. I wish I could say it's not a problem, but I forgot to use a PkHex on Earthquake, and I only have 10 power points to take down 2 Dusclops with pressure along with the rest of Phoebe's team. Anyway, the second one hits and the Banette with Thunderbolt comes out. I'm slower, but with a quick low kept, I still have a chance to attack first. This is not the case, so Banette managed to destroy my substitute before going down. The second Dusclops is actually pretty scary. It will use Rock Slide, and the possibility of some flinch shenanigans is... nothing. The already mentioned Quick Claw spurs me the trouble and Earthquake scores the kill. Even with the highest possible attack, it was an 80% range. Maybe it would be more consistent to keep a Soft Sand in case I have to redo this battle. The second Banette is out, but this doesn't have any scary damaging option like the first one, so I'm not worried about it. Okay, that could have been bad. Forget the Soft Sand, I'll keep a Lumberry the next time. But let's not be so pessimistic. Only Sableye is left and I still have plenty of HP and 2 Earthquake PP. Right, it's another D-move spammer. And I miss. So all my hope is in this last Earthquake. Come on game, are you really going to be such a... Yeah, you are. I tried to run out of PP and kill Sableye with struggle, but that didn't go well, so goodbye attempt 1. Attempt 2 Sydney goes pretty much the same, so I'm just gonna skip it and go straight for the second round against Phoebe. If I lose this time, it's completely on me. It's true I got unlucky with Anchor only lasting 2 turns, but then I only made it worse with questionable decisions. The best thing to do is probably to keep spamming Curse and hope to not get cursed myself on the turn I eventually remain without Substitute. Anyway, my bad decision making led me to finish off Dusclops with only 5 curses set up and half of my HP remaining. Banette can't do anything unexpected, but I don't have the Quick Claw this time, so I'm 100% going to lose the Substitute. The second Dusclops is of course the one I'm the most worried about. I'll need 2 hits to take it down, and all it needs to kill me is a single flinch from Rock Slide. Come on, I really need some luck bailing me out here. Yes, very nice. I mean, not very nice. I still have only 30 HP for the rest of the battle. Thanks to my really high special defense and the boosted physical defense, I'm out of Banette's skill range, and I don't mind it landing a Will-O-Wisp. As I said, I was going to keep a Lumberry for the future attempts. And now we have the occasion to talk about another AI weird behavior. When it comes to moves that deal a set amount of damage like Seismitoss or Nightshade, the AI doesn't work really well. Right now I'm only dead to Nightshade and a couple of feint attack rolls, but Sableye still doesn't see a kill and goes for double team. So I get the chance to land on Earthquake. Okay, don't let this abomination get on your nerves. This miss was just the universe balancing out the good luck you had before. So now we're even. Let's try again. Sableye goes for a feint attack, please no high roll. Great. 3 HP are more than enough to finally end this battle. There are so many words I could use to describe this Sableye right now. I think you've already seen enough Phoebe, and since attempt 3 Sydney doesn't bring anything new to the table either, allow me to skip ahead to my next match against this stupid Sableye. Just look at it. Trying to pull off some double team shenanigans for the 3rd time. I'm sorry, but not gonna happen. Earthquake hits and I can finally get past Phoebe. Glacia has 2 Celio and a Walrein, so for the next battle I'll need to use a Spheal that is ruthless, a real professional that doesn't even blink in front of some of its kind. And I have the perfect one for the job. This is pretty much the same strategy used with Phoebe, only against a much more manageable team. Celio is first and I go for Substitute right away, while it sets up Hail like it always does. I'm faster by exactly 1 point, so I use Anchor and then start setting up Curse. The Substitute is mainly here to avoid a potential Body Slam paralysis while I'm busy setting up. I don't need to max out my attack this time, a +5 is enough, and once I reach that point, I can simply start using Hidden Power. Cold Heart's Hidden Power is of the fighting type and it has the maximum base power possible, so 70. And that's going to be enough to sweep Glacia's entire team, even though every Pokémon will have the chance to attack me before going down. Not worried about the first Glalie, even though a crunch destroying my substitute is a bit annoying. The level 52 Celio, on the other hand, has a remote chance to cause issues. Exactly. I do not appreciate infatuation in Pokémon, with its supposedly 50% chance to not attack. Besides, everyone knows that when you're in love, you can't think straight anymore. Yeah, that's my justification for using Anchor instead of going for the kill with Hidden Power. I don't know, I was sure it was going to set up Hail, so I acted automatically. The best thing is that not only infatuation prevents me from attacking 3 times in a row, but Anchor also only lasts 2 turns, so Celio gets to use Double Edge on me a couple of times. A crit would have probably lost me the match, but that didn't happen and Hidden Power finally takes down the Mustache Seal. The hail stops, so the second Glalie will set it up again, losing that really slim chance to crit me with a third one explosion. At this point, I just win. There's a single Hidden Power roll that doesn't kill Warwing, to be honest, but that's not something I'm worried about. And after tanking fairly well a Surf, I don't get that lowest roll and end the battle successfully. The next opponent is Drake, the only one I have the tap advantage on. Will that be enough for Spheal? Let's see. This might be getting a bit old, but you can't really blame me. Substitute, Anchor and Curse are the only saving grace for a Pokémon like Spheal. Shelgon is not guaranteed to use Protect first, it's just really likely, and seems like this is one of those rare occasions where it attacks right away. So Rock Tomb hits and immediately destroys the substitute. Not much I can do, I needed to use Protect now. Great, and the lost HP shouldn't matter too much. Anchor locks Shelgon into Protect, and now all I need are 3 curses. I don't care about the attack buff this time, but the boosted defense will hopefully allow me to survive for the rest of the battle. Since Anchor is lasting longer than I expected and Shelgon just failed using Protect, I go for curse number 4 before starting to attack with Ice Beam. Protect fails and the one shot is guaranteed. As I said, I'm not too worried about the low HP. The Shell Bell should heal me a lot during the fight. Second is Elements because it has Rock Slide, but thanks to my boosted defense I know it will use Dragon Claw instead. Doesn't really matter though. The substitute takes the hit for me and I'm free to retaliate with an Ice Beam for the one shot. Altera is next and I'm slightly worried. It's either gonna be Dragon Dance or Dragon Breath and the paralysis from the latter would be kinda terrible. Luck seems to be by my side. Altaria goes down in a single hit as well and the Shell Bell healing almost puts me back to full HP. And now Kingdra. As usual, dealing with this Pokémon is a pain. 3 Ice Beam will take it down without risking to trigger a full restore, but who knows what can happen in the process. I'll tell you what happens. A Smoke Screen from Kingdra drops my accuracy and I miss Ice Beam right away. And guess what? Turn 2 I miss again while Kingdra starts to set up Dragon Dance. Then another Dragon Dance is thankfully followed by a successful Ice Beam, but better to not get used to such a luxury. Dragon Dance number 3, Ice Beam miss number 3. So far I've missed a 75% chance to hit 3 out of 4 times. And with such a boosted attack, Kingdra will start using Body Slam over Surf, which means I'm risking to get paralyzed as well. Thankfully I don't miss Ice Beam anymore, so Kingdra only gets to hit me twice and doesn't even get the paralysis. I thought it was going to die to Kingdra, but even if in the end things turned out to be okay, I'm still very far from calling myself lucky. Last is Flygon, but unless the game really decides I have to lose, I don't think I'll have any issue with it. I'm out of Dragon Breath crit range and I dodge another paralysis, so I'm free to hit one final Ice Beam for the one shot. Drake is defeated, let's move on. All is left is the champion, and I'm dangerously close to actually finish the run with less than 10 resets. Wallace is for sure a tough opponent, but Spheal's typing is great to tank his strongest moves. I have a plan, but it needs some explanation beforehand. I'll try to be as brief as possible. While breeding, the only parent that can pass down an egg move is the father, so getting a Spheal with both Curse and Yawn is apparently impossible. But allow me to show you Torkoal's egg moves. It only has a few, but Yawn is one of them. You see where this is going. A male Torkoal with Juan and Curse can pass down both moves to a Spheal, and as you might have guessed, that Spheal is going to defeat Wallace. Final battle, here we go. First is Wailord. The idea is very simple. Use Juan, set up at least 5 curses, and then sweep through Wallace's team with Return, using rest in case the HP gets too low. Easier said than done. Rain Dance on the first turn is good, but a full power rain boosted water spout is no joke even with a well-trained special defense. Even worse, the AI is really weird when it comes to moves that deal damage based on the user's HP. But right now that's not my biggest concern, as the double edge crit leaves my Spheal with 24 HP. The Juan sleep triggers at the end of the turn, so at least I'll get the chance to use rest. I have a Chestoberry cape to make the setup easier, so I wake up right away and start using Curse. Hopefully I will get some good luck. While it always takes 2 turns to wake up from rest, Wailord can stay asleep anywhere between 1 and 5 turns. Sadly, after barely setting up a second curse, Wailord wakes up and lands a double edge. See, that's what I meant before. Water Spout here would have dealt more damage, but the AI still went for double edge despite my boosted defense. Fine by me as long as it doesn't get another crit. Juan is guaranteed to hit, but its sleep needs a turn to trigger, and in that window of time I am exposed to potential critical hits. At least Wailord is likely to waste time with Rain Dance whenever the weather effect expires. I'm currently 1 curse away from starting the sweep, but I'm not comfortable with my HP, so I go for rest first. Maybe this time Wailord will stay asleep for more than 2 turns. Taking so many hits is starting to make me nervous. Well, if I'd have to take a wild guess, I'd say this whale doesn't like to oversleep in the morning. It's not even raining anymore, so come on, waste a turn with Rain Dance and let me finish my setup. No, stop it. This hurts a bit. I mean, a longer setup means more chances to get crit, so even if Wailord got 2 critical hits here, I don't feel like complaining about bad luck. Really, I'm fine. Do you think I mind getting crit when I'm finally ready to win the final battle of the run? I don't. Hours can go by, I still won't feel the slightest amount of frustration when Wailord crits me with double edge after the umpteenth 1 turn sleep. And just imagine when you finally kill that stupid whale, just imagine Ludicolo coming out and using Leech Seed right away. A slow that sentence that lets you see a glimmer of hope until the very end, when you realize that all is lost and finally fall into the deepest darkness. Really though, I'm making it worse than it actually was. It sucks that I won't finish this run with less than 10 resets, but for now I'm still sitting at an amazingly low number. I mean, I should say that the champion is not the only one I lost in the process. Sydney was carry every single time. I was very consistently able to use Anchor on my TN Ascend attack, but I was shocked by the amount of times Absol didn't use Source Dance and just spammed Rock Slide. I risked a flinch or a crit pretty much every time, and yet I never lost to Sydney. Weirdly enough, it's Phoebe, the Elite Four member, that troubled me the most. A bit because I was experimenting alternative ways to set up in case of a shot Anchor at the start, but mostly because of the second Banette. I can play around its Will-O-Wisp, but if it uses Grudge the turn I kill it with Earthquake, I just lose all my PP and there's nothing I can do about it. Apart from the 2 resets you've already seen, I've lost to Phoebe 4 more times. Just like with Sydney, I never lost to Glacia, but I've seen something really weird. I saw this happening a couple of times. The hail stops and Celio doesn't set it up again immediately. I swear, this run is making me feel like I can't trust my knowledge about this game anymore. Drake was surprisingly polite if we exclude the one time I got 2 misses in a row due to a single smoke screen into 3 Ice Beam low rolls. That wasn't really fun. And even if I briefly showed you most of my defeats against the champion up to this point, I left out a really painful one that involved Wailord surviving with a pixel of HP along with a couple of other very ironic and sadistic factors. So if I'm not failing basic math, we should be at 20 resets total. Back to Wallace, if I skipped all the other attempts and I'm showing you this one, I'm probably not going to die to a crit against Wailord. I will still show you the whole thing, but I won't pedantically describe every single turn. It might seem a strategy like this can't have any more depth, but that's not true. I learned that using return while at +2 puts Waylod either in full restore range or one recoil away from it. The healing turn is great to use Juan and lets one more rain turn pass, which is nice. I mean, a crit from double edge is all it takes to lose, but increasing my odds of winning with details like this is satisfying. Anyway, the most important thing is to be out of Giga Drink kill range when Ludicolo comes out. In the attempt we're seeing, I struggled particularly to put myself in a good position before taking down Waylod, but eventually I achieved my goal. My Spheal has a really high special defense, so a Giga Drain max roll is just barely over 50% of my HP. It feels really wrong to say after all the trouble I had with accuracy and evasiveness, but double team here is not only the most likely possibility, it's also the best one. As long as I hit return, that is, and I do. The rain hasn't stopped yet, and that's not ideal. Tentacruel will go down in a single hit, but Hydro Pump, even if not effective, is no joke. Toxic, on the other hand, is fine. I will heal the poison with rest later. Next is Milotic, and I don't like what I'm seeing in the footage. Maybe I didn't realize there still was one last rain turn, but regardless I should have used rest right away instead of Juan. Surf hits for a kinda massive amount of damage, and the poison puts me very close to die from another one even after the rain stops. I guess I wouldn't even be allowed to complain if I get a crit now. Come on game, just be nice. Thank you. Now, I think it's safe to say there's nothing to see while both of the Pokemon in the field are sleeping, so let me skip a couple of turns. Conveniently, we both wake up at the same time. Getting hit by Surf is not pleasant, but at least Marvel Scale is no longer active, so return is almost guaranteed to one-shot Milotic, and it does. Really good, the last two Pokemon I'm not really worried about. Whiscash Surf is much weaker than Milotic's, and there's a really good chance it just uses Amnesia instead of attacking. It's the perfect occasion to set up one last curse. Whiscash is for sure a decently bulky Pokemon, but it's not the reason I need the extra attack for. After a second Amnesia, it goes down and Gyarados is last. Thanks to that last curse, I don't mind the Intimidate, and since I'm now level 60, there's only a single return roll that doesn't kill Gyarados. I'm sure it won't attack me with its physical moves for now, and Dragon Dance is perfect. Time to land one final hit and finish the run. Come on Gyarados, don't ruin the moment. Wallace has 2 more full restores. Do we really need to go through all of them? Yeah, that's what I thought. So with only 20 resets, the Spheal Solo run ends with a victory. This went much better than I was expecting, even though the Tate and Liza battle left a bitter taste in my mouth. Really wish I managed to win with a single Spheal there. But regardless, I had fun playing this. I also discovered a lot about the egg moves, and while I don't think this is a good moment to talk about it, let me just say that I would probably play differently a lot of the solo runs I did until now. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video. I value a lot your feedback, so feel free to let me know what you think about this run. Also, I'm open for other solo run suggestions. I might not do them right away, but have no doubt I'll keep them in mind. Nothing else to say, so you have a nice day, and as for me, back to theory crafting.